Hey everyone, it's Mandy. Thanks so much for joining me here today. I have a new layout to share with you, and this one is for the Vicki Boutin design team. So over the past few weeks, I've been playing along with Vicki's Junk Journal Summer Camp Challenge. And so what I wanted to do today was show you how I transfer the techniques that I'm using in my junk journal onto a scrapbook layout. So for me, a big part of using the junk journal is to practice my mixed media techniques and play with the products and see how they work and try out different things. And so my goal then is to be able to incorporate those techniques onto a scrapbook layout. So if you watched my video from last week, I shared a junk journal spread, and so what I wanted to do today was use the exact same techniques that I used in that video and create a scrapbook layout. So I'm starting off with a sheet of the Vicki Boutin Foundations paper. If you haven't used this before for your mixed media, I highly, highly recommend it. It's the best that I have found in terms of not warping when you add your mixed media to it. It takes the wet mediums so well, and it's really nice and thick, and it actually has like a coating on it, so you don't have to add gesso to it if you don't want to. I have added gesso today because I knew that I wanted to be able to blend those watercolours together when I added the colours, but you don't have to if you don't want to. You would just get a different look if you don't add the gesso first. So the first layer I did, the same as what I did in my junk journal, was to use the matte acrylic gel medium, and I applied it with a palette knife through that circle stencil. So I sort of know where I want my photo to go on this page. It's sort of going to go in the middle there of where I'm doing that mixed media. So that's where I applied the stenciling with the matte acrylic gel, and then I made sure that that was completely dry, and now I'm coming in with my art crayons. And so I'm going for a really girly feminine colour palette on this because I'm going to document a photo of me with my youngest daughter. So I'm using lots of beautiful shades of pink and purple on this page. And so to get the colours that I wanted, you saw there that I've mixed together some of I used like the magenta, but I wanted it to be a little bit more on the pink side than the purple side. So I've just added a little bit of red to that, and then I've mixed two purples together to get that colour as well. So you don't have to use the art crayons, the colours as is. You can mix them together. So really the possibilities are endless with these. I love using the art crayons. They're so easy to use. They're beautifully pigmented, and I love the result that I get with them. And so once I had finished, you saw there that I used like the kissing or packaging technique to apply it. So I just scribbled it onto the plastic packaging, used my water brush to add a little bit of water to it, and then just kissed it to the page and moved it around until I was happy and blended the colours together. And then I also added some splatters as well using the same colours. And then the last layer that I'm going to do on my background is just some stamping. So I'm using the Vicki Boutin circle stamps and the pigment ink. So this is called the colour wheel, and this is the warm colour palette. And so I'm just doing a little bit of tone on tone stamping with the pink ink, and that's it for the background. So as you can see, I've used all the same techniques that I used on my junk journal spread from last week, and I've been able to create a beautiful background for my scrapbook layout, and I'm really happy with how that turned out. I love the beautiful bright colours and the texture, and I think that's going to make a great background for this layout. So now I'm moving on to adding my photo and embellishing, and so I wanted to match my photo. So I've picked out one of the patterned papers from the All the Good Things collection, and it's sort of a purpley blue colour, I guess maybe like a periwinkle blue. So I think that's going to tone in nicely with those pinks and blues. And then I also want to add a sheet of craft foam to the back of the photo as well, because I want to lift it up and give it some nice dimension. So you can see there, that's where I'm going to position it. And now I'm just going to go through the die cuts from the All the Good Things collection and pick out lots of those beautiful pink and purple embellishments and work on adding those to my page as well. So the photo I said before is of myself with my youngest daughter. It was actually taken on her first day of preschool earlier this year, but that's not really what I wanted to document on this page. I've been thinking about lately how I often say that she is my most, I guess, stubborn or strong-willed child, and I had been thinking about how I often think of that in a negative way, I suppose. I don't mean to, but I guess if you have a child who is strong-willed, you might relate that sometimes they can be hard work. But I really have been thinking lately about the positive side of that, and how that's, when she grows up, that's going to be such a great quality to have. I'm really am proud of the fact that she knows what she wants, even though sometimes that can mean that it's hard work for me. But she knows what she wants, and she's strong and independent, and I think that's going to make for great qualities in an adult. And so I just wanted to document on this page my thoughts about that, and that I really am proud of the fact that she has those qualities. And so I will add a little bit of journaling later along those lines. So now you can see that I've sort of created a little cluster there up behind the top left-hand corner of the photo. So I've just tucked some die cuts under there. And now I'm working on adding my title to the page. And so I've used a combination of the foam thickers from the All the Good Things collection and the chipboard thickers. And so my title is going to be My Darling, and I nearly added the wrong letter there. Be careful if you're... I wanted to add my title from the end to the start because I wanted to line it up underneath the word my, and I nearly added the R before the L. But I've got it stuck down now, so I'm happy with how that's looking. And you can see now that I'm going to add a little cluster there in the bottom right hand corner of the page, and that's going to balance out the larger photo cluster. So I just felt like it needed something down there in the bottom right hand corner, to balance out the photo there. And that's where I'm going to add my journaling. And so yeah, I'm happy with how all this is looking now, so I'm going to start getting some things stuck down. I'm using my Helmer 450 glue, which works great with if you have mixed media on your background. I find that this glue really adheres things really well. I never have a problem with things lifting up off the page if I'm putting it over the top of gesso or anything like that. So I can recommend that glue. And I'm just using my T-square ruler just to make sure I have it all nice and straight and centered on the page. And then I'm also going to add some foam tape underneath the leaves in that top left-hand cluster, and also under the wings of that butterfly that I'm sticking down now. And the reason I did that is because I really love having lots of dimension on my pages. You've probably noticed that if you've watched my videos before. I think it just really adds an extra pop to the layout. I think it adds something extra, some more interest when you have some elements that are raised up off the page and are stuck down at various heights within your embellishment clusters. I think that just adds lots of interest and helps the layout to really stand out, I think. Okay, so I'm also going to now stick down that label in that bottom right hand cluster. I do stick it down with my tape runner, but then I also decide to add some craft foam underneath that as well. And so once I get that stuck down, I then decide to add a couple of the gold hearts from the Foam Thickers pack. And the reason I decided to do that was because I'd added the gold in the title, but I didn't have it anywhere else on the page. And so I felt like it really needed to be brought in a couple more spots on the page just to make it feel balanced. I think if you add something in a different colour to what you've used anywhere else on the page, sometimes it stands out a little bit too much, and it needs to be balanced out. So I often try to add 3 things in if I bring in a different colour onto the page, and that just helps it to look nice and balanced. And so I'll go ahead and add my journaling, as you can see there, to that label. And then the last thing I'm going to do is just add that little chipboard banner to the top left-hand corner of the photo. So that will finish it off. So thanks so much for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned because I will be back soon with another one. So I'll see you then. Bye.